Well, welcome back, everyone, to the Monday morning edition of Let Us Reason Together. It is December the 27th. Can you believe that in terms of the Gregorian calendar of the year 2021? Yes, time is flying by. I'm your host, John Craig, and it is the 23rd day of the 10th month of Tevet. Can you believe that? Time is flying by. And before you know it, Passover will be here. So but we've got a lot of stuff between then and now, and that's why we're here to keep you guys up to date, informed, and also join together, like Isaiah 1:18 says. Come now and let us reason together, says Yahweh. Though your sins are as scarlet, they'll be as white as snow. Though they are red like crimson, they'll be like wool. So what do we do here at Let Us Reason Together? It's where we sit down, reason out current events, cultural shifts. Of course, this week, Torah Portion, and we can either push back or push through. Nevertheless, if iron does not sharpen iron, sparks will never fly, let alone ever get a fire going. And without a little heat and a good midrash, how will our hearts ever get soft and moldable enough to be transformed in the way that the Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, wants us to be? And maybe have a little fun along the way. Yeah, we're going to have some fun. Why? Because we got some headlines that are not typically talked about. We're going to have some shower thoughts that are not typically talked about. And we've got a Torah portion that Sandy's going to bring today. I'm excited to hear what she has to say. And then, of course, there's part 2 to Let Us Reason Together, which you'll catch on lamnetwork.tv live, where we can only talk about it there or over on Twitch, things that will get censored for otherwise. So thank you for joining us this morning. And we got Marilyn in the chat room. Good morning, Marilyn, and it's good to have you. Here's the verse of the day before I introduce my co-host. Luke 11:20. That's taken from the Brit Hadashah. And of things, well, let me just say it. And then you say, why are you talking about this? Because this is really powerful. Yeshua saying, but if I cast out the demons by the finger of Elohim, by the finger of Yah, then the kingdom of Yah has come upon you. But if I cast out the demons by the finger of Yah, then the kingdom of God has come upon you. And that is an exciting just fact. It's a fun fact. And it's also tied to this week's Torah portion. Well, I want to introduce to you my beautiful bride, Miss Sandi Craig. Here she comes, joining me in the picture. Miss Sandi Craig, good morning, good morning, good morning.
I was glad you called me first because I was cold.
You're cold.
I needed to get in my blanket.
A little chilly in the house this morning.
It is. Hold on, I'm not adjusted. Right.
All right.
There we go.
She's getting herself in position and in place.
Okay.
And I'm so glad that you're joining this morning. You have a few things. You have a few things to say this morning?
I don't know. I think I said a lot on the last show.
You did. You did. That's okay. And also from the great state of North Carolina, we've got Mark David Smith joining us, also known as 363 Days Till Christmas.
See, I got you to say it instead of me. That's why it's in there, so that you'll say it, not me.
Okay, all right.
But I just want to. It seems like every week there's an elephant in the room, and what was it? Last time we had a show, Sandy's hair was real straight, so we had to talk about that. And now she comes in and she's cold, but in between the two of you, behind you, is a fireplace.
And it's real.
And Sandy's cold. And so it's kind of like this is what all of us, the masses out here that are watching the show, we want to know, why is Sandy cold? And yet you have a fireplace within probably maybe 3 feet behind you there? 3, 4 feet?
Not even 3, I don't think.
Not even 3 feet behind you. So
let me ask.
By the way, have you guys ever been to Sukkot? There's a thing we do at night. We build this little fire and we sit around the fire, and it's we get warm and that type of thing. They've been doing that sort of thing for probably 40 or 50 years now. People have been building fires to keep warm. So, I'm not real sure I understand, why is Sandy cold?
I want to ask that question. Why don't I have a fire on a cold morning?
Well, it's not 19 degrees here like where Maryland's at. So there's no need for a fire yet.
But I will say this, we tend to leave the heater off. So our house is generally around 61 degrees.
Yeah, wait till you get 67. The first thing you do is set your alarm for a half hour before you want to get up, and you get up and you go turn all the heaters on. Then you go back to bed, sleep for another half hour. You get up and it's like nice and cozy in the house here, but it was real nice and cool to sleep in overnight. But so
well, I know it's usually I mean, this is during the cooler months. It's usually warmer outside, at least at this time, than it is inside.
I make a correction. Minus 19.
Now that needs a fire or 3.
So you wait till it gets to minus 19 before you build a fire. There was some really warm nights at Sukkot that we had a stinking white man's fire going.
Oh, I can't wait. If we get to, I mean, if Yah tarries, then I can't wait till Sukkot this next year. We'll have an even better fire. I might as well start plugging now. If we're counting down the days to Christmas, how many days is it till Sukkot? We got to get ready, folks. Are you saving up? Because we want you with us.
That's right. Start now.
I'll never forget. You guys have met him. You remember Ronnie Griggs at Sukkot. It was great because every year on the last day, we're all cleaning up, and Simchat Torah, and Sukkot's over, and we're celebrating and starting to clean up the camp and everything. And Ronnie every year will say, 364 more days till Sukkot. Every year.
Well, you know what? I think we should start having a countdown. That'll remind people to save their money and get themselves ready to go to the landnetwork.tv and Life of Worship Sukkot. Yeah.
I love it. As a matter of fact, I'll put a timer on the website and it'll count down every day. It'll count down. Well, if you want me to, I can put it up there and have right down to the minutes, these many days, this many hours, this many minutes.
I guess that would mean we're super excited. Yeah, so.
Until the opening prayer for Sukkot. I love it. That's
okay, my
great.
Mind's already racing now, Mark. I'm already in there. So.
We're good. It's good. All right. Welcome to Monday. Let us reason together.
We took over your show, Mark and I.
That's good. That's fine. We're good.
I'm missing Eddie and Tammy, though. I mean,
we are missing them. We are missing them. Yeah,
we're missing them.
So they are getting some work done at their place and some construction, and so we'll be glad to have them back when they join us next time. So
pouring concrete.
Yeah,
buddy, that's exciting, man. Pouring concrete, man. I love pouring concrete, man.
My mom and dad used to do that together too, in their home, and had all sorts of patios and sidewalks. They always did it themselves. I can't imagine us doing that.
Oh yeah, John could do it. It takes probably 14 power tools to get it, to a place where you can. It's all nice and smooth and everything, and just give John a couple of power tools. It'll get done.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that we're talking about this, I don't think that would be a good idea. I think that I don't think that would be a good idea. Article thing. But here's the thing.
What?
Yeah, you heard me. When my mom was pouring concrete and working out, doing that, she always had her hair done, and she's probably listening right now. And I have a picture of her because I took pictures when I was a kid too. And she had like a grocery store plastic bag over her head tied. And she's wearing something purple, and she's sort of bent over as Daddy and her working on the concrete they just poured. So yeah, this picture came to mind, and Twyla, I'm telling on you. So if you're listening, I should find that picture and post it. No, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, we would love to see that picture.
Source Bob says here in the chat room, hire a professional. Well, Bob,
Hey,
you're
dude.
hired. You're hired.
Hey, Bob is a professional, by the way.
Yes, he
Bob
is.
He
can
is
do
a
that
professional.
stuff.
It's to be a reason for him to come on down, right?
Hey, all you got to do is mention to Bob that you're doing some kind of construction work, and or don't let him find out that you've already done the construction work, or you're already like 2/3 of the way into it. Like when I was in Oklahoma, this past month or so, and I get a phone call from Bob Hall. Hey, I hear you're doing some construction work. Yeah, Bob, I'm about 2/3 of the way done with it. Whoa, why didn't you call me? I could have been out there. I could have done all this for you and helped you out. As a matter of fact, where are you? I'm on my way.
Wow. Okay. Based on that, Bob, we were going over the things that need constructed at Life of Worship.
There we
need
go.
to construct the stage, because this where we're at now, we tore apart the stage and put it in our new building, and we weren't able to bring it back. We need to open up a doorway between the fellowship hall and we've been planning on doing this for actually 2.5 years.
Bob Hall?
Yeah.
We got
And we need it. So we need a double door put in there. We used to have one when John and I built those walls, and then they closed it up when we left.
That's right.
And we need our sound booth put in. We brought the sound booth from our other place, our other facility here, and the one that's there is sort of, we built that back in 2008 or 9.
It's a good sound booth, but it's not as pretty as the other one.
But no, and it's not as long and wide, and the cabinet goes like this. And so, Bob, there's a lot of construction that needs done in Amarillo, Texas. I'm just saying.
And Cece is not allowed to sit in the truck. She has to get out this time.
That's right.
That's right.
Okay, we've used up your whole show.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's the Mark and Sandy show. Oh, wait, that's Thursday.
Hey, coming soon. We just did a long promo for
That's
Sandy
right.
and I's new show.
See, Mark and I don't need you. I'm joking.
We're good. All right, we'll see y'all later. Y'all having a good time. All right. Hey, well, with that said, we do have headlines from around the world, headlines that you're not going to hear anywhere else, because we live in interesting times.
Is that your intro to
That's
the
my
intro?
intro.
Give him a look.
But wait, there's more, because we have a video intro into this segment.
Oh, guys.
Be the
I
first.
wish we could have a laugh-o-meter.
Be the first. Here it is.
Alrighty then.
Sorry, that's just hilarious. I laugh so hard that every time I see it, I just laugh.
I don't know if I can make these headlines
Funnier
live up to that intro.
Yeah, funnier than the intro. All right.
So just to start off, we've got now this is actually not a headline, but it's actually in a newspaper, and it's actually a recipe correction. Here it is. Recipe correction in a recipe for salsa published recently. One of the ingredients was misstated due to an error. The correct ingredient is 2 teaspoons of cilantro instead of 2 teaspoons of cement?
How many people made it before they got the correction?
I don't understand why we have cement in here, but it says to do it.
So I'm going to do it.
It says it's really good. Well, that just solidifies things, but I can't. My chip keeps breaking. What's up?
No, that just solidifies things was better. Yeah.
All right. So moving right along. How about this? This is also a correction that was in a don't know which state this was in, but it is a correction. It says, due to incorrect information received from the clerk of court's office, Diane K. Merchant, 38, was incorrectly listed as being fined for prostitution in Wednesday's paper. The charge should have been failure to stop at railroad crossing. The public opinion apologizes for the error.
That would be terrible.
Oh my God.
Imagine that. That would be terrible.
That's not like a spell correct error.
How do you mess that one up?
You know, when you're typing on your phone and you type in something and it gives you a different word because you'd mistyped it. It's like, that's not the word I mean. But prostitution, failure to stop at railroad crossing.
Really.
But I'm telling you, okay, think about the congregation. Think about the leaders in the congregation. If something like that ever was a misstep by an outside source, congregations are the worst talkers, gossipers, and Lashon Hora people. Lashon Hora. And they would crucify that leader for that. And then even if there was a correction, they go,
I don't know if I believe that correction is true.
Yeah, right.
But
this is not something you put on your resume.
Right. You know, and of all things, clerk of courts.
Yeah.
Clerk of courts.
Yeah. Some old 78-year-old woman that's been doing the job for the last 50 years, probably.
Had a vendetta.
I don't like this woman. Let's see. What kind of story can I bring?
I'm serious. That's sort of like a vendetta thing. I don't know how you
prostitution. Railroad crossing.
They're gonna make me put a correction in there.
Paul says, I smell a defamation lawsuit. Yeah. All right. How about moving right along? This is from Mountain View Friday. And I don't know which Friday this was, but it says Walmart. Police receive a report of a newborn infant found in a trash can. Upon investigation, officers discovered it was only a burrito.
A burrito? A baby. A
burrito? 9-pound burrito.
A burrito? A baby. A burrito? I don't get that either.
It was...
Well, some people eat some pretty big burritos there, Sandy. So man,
it's all wrapped up. Was it
not even funny? Yeah, exactly. Okay, moving on that one.
Oh, okay, all right. So I got another one here for you. This is actually from a classified ad.
Did you skip one?
No, there it's right there. This is from a classified ad, and the different parts on the newspapers. They do still print newspapers in some places. They're kind of thin anymore, but this is a classified ad where it says Honda CBR 250. So anybody knows that it's a motorcycle. Honda CBR 250 for sale, fully sick, and does the mad skids. Or shall I say it? Maybe this is British. Is fully sick and does the mad skids. Oh, I don't know. That didn't work.
Sorry.
Okay.
I just thought of the Biden picture I showed you yesterday.
Skid marks. Skid marks.
No, I didn't want you to say it.
Okay. Moving right along back to the motorcycle. Can easily outrun the cops and has done so on many occasions. $1,500.
and has done so on many
That's
occasions.
pretty. I don't
So,
know that I would
oh,
put that in there.
Now, there's a phone number in here if you want to try it. I think it might be maybe Australian or something because it's 1,500 maybe Australian dollars. I don't know because the phone number is definitely not American.
So under the classifieds at the bottom, does it say reason for selling? Need to buy Tecate?
No, but it does give the guy's name. And so he says, yeah, I've outrun the cops. His name is John, of all things. And he's outrun the cops on many.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you get a Tecate, the cops won't even pull you over because they can't catch you. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Tecate will outrun any cop car. They won't even. I have heard literally. I have heard if cops, start going after a speeder and they see it's a Tecate, they'll just pull over. It's not worth the trouble because they ain't gonna catch it. So.
All I can say is when you start going that fast and you're on city streets,
sure,
your life is in your hands.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah.
Wow.
But there are people that do it, man. Big time.
Yep. Okay. Now this one happens to be, it's not a headline. Sorry if I'm disappointing anybody about headlines, but these were too good to pass by. Oh. This is an ad. It's an ad that was found, and it says, okay, it says, shamed by you English. You can speak soon and write like a graduate college if me let you help for a day of 15 minutes.
I believe it. I believe that is a real ad. I really,
it shows do. It is actually an ad, and that's really to have somebody teach you that can't speak it themselves.
Listen, because I own the website, the lambnetwork.tv, it's got several URLs. I get a lot of people emailing me wanting to build my website for me. And I get a couple of weeks ago, they're worded in so many different ways, but you can kind of tell some of them are like from other countries because their English is just scattered all over the place. And you want me to let you build my website? And one of them I got a couple of weeks ago the first line says, do you want to build your own website? And then he goes on and starts explaining how they will build your website. And the only answer I can go back with is, I already built my own website. So it's like, I just didn't get it. It's insane how people email you wanting you to buy something from them, but their English is just scattered all over the place. And it's like, and you want me to let you do this for me? Anyway, I thought I'd throw that in.
Okay. Well, that was the last.
Obviously, you guys aren't impressed with it.
No, actually,
we get that. With your website.
We get that. And
I'm just thinking why anybody would even bother.
Your
site.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, usually my response is, have you actually been to my website?
Exactly.
Because most of them don't give you the URL. They said, would you like for us to build your website based on, and they give you your email address. They haven't actually been to your website. They just have your email address.
Yeah.
And it's like, have you actually been to my website? Anyway,
right.
Go ahead. Go on.
Right.
You're right.
Well, hey, those are the headlines that I wanted to bring today. So
cool.
we need to jump into the next group. So let's go for it.
I always wanted to be a comedy writer.
Well, with intros like that, man, Mark.
I wish I'd have done it 40 years ago. write sitcoms. I would have loved to have written sitcoms and done the editing and shows and stuff. I would love to have done that. Anyway, go ahead.
Very cool. So weird and quirky shower thoughts for today. Those deep thoughts that make you say, Yes, of course, when that nice warm shower water is just running over you, let your mind go wild, and the most insightful things.
I still don't get it because I pray in the shower. So
all righty. So for number one for today's deep thoughts and shower thoughts, I guess it would be a humongous amount of fries if all the French fries I've eaten in my life were put in one pile. Well,
No.
I think I would go, oh my goodness, what did I do to myself?
Not enough ketchup in the world.
you know, I don't eat fries very often.
Oh,
It wouldn't be that big.
yeah.
Yeah, just think about the accumulation of all the years of French fries.
Oh,
Yeah. Put it in one big old pile. You say, I ate all of that throughout my life.
hey, we're hearing from Eddie.
Hey, there's Eddie. Shalom, y'all. Our concrete guys changed their date. Oh,
You don't have to
cool.
say it.
All right.
Online.
So good. We may have them in the uncensored portion. That'll be exciting. It's good to know. All right.
You
Gutter
have
guy
gutter,
joke.
you have gutter guys?
We need gutters too.
We do need better. Where's Bob? Hey, okay, moving right along. Let's move on to the next one. And it says, now, this is not an endorsement of this at all. I'm just saying this was somebody's shower thought. I just have to say this as a caveat before we go in and say it, all right? Just saying, okay? All right. If you sat on your voodoo doll, you shouldn't be able to get back up again. Get it?
I think that I don't like it.
Non-responsive.
All right. So
I would have to say somebody else's voodoo doll,
yeah, right.
Yeah. If you go over to somebody's house for supper and you go to sit down and you feel something in the seat that shouldn't be there, and you get up and there's a voodoo doll of you sitting in the seat. Ta-ta, see y'all later. Gone. I'm out of here.
Beware of whose threshold you cross. All right. Okay. Sorry, Sandy. I flopped with Sandy there. But, it's somebody else's shower thought. How did they even come up with something like that? All right. Okay. Maybe they're from Southern California or something. Or Northern California. No, I don't know. Sorry, Californians. Sorry. Maybe they're from another country. All right. Okay.
John is. I'm not.
Okay. How about this next one? If you are 30, you were here before every single dog currently alive on Earth.
Wow, John, you are really hitting them out of the park.
If you're 60, it means you've gone through 2 generations of dogs.
If you're 60, you've gone through more than 2.
Considering now it says 30, I would think, because most dogs, if they grow to old age,
a large dog is lifespan's max 10 years usually.
Yeah, small dogs maybe 15,
14
some
at the most.
Yeah, so some will live a little bit longer.
This
than
person who wrote the shower thought couldn't even do that.
They're probably a millennial. All right. Okay.
Do the new math.
That's right.
Okay.
A 30-year-old dog. That would be something else.
That would.
Okay. Maybe horses or something. But okay. So if you just look at the, I had to edit this because this is lambnetwork.tv. Okay, so if you just look at the human anatomy between the male and the female, it says something else. I did change it. If you just look at the anatomy between the male and the female, it would actually make more sense. This is someone else's shower thought. It would actually make more sense for girls to wear pants and for guys to wear skirts.
I have thought that before. I have actually
I have
thought that
to.
before.
I have to.
I literally have
yeah.
thought that very thought before.
I've
So
thought it many times.
yeah, me
and-
too. You're the only one that hasn't.
Well, I always wondered. I mean, I have a Scottish heritage. There is a reason those Scotsmen wore kilts.
Woo!
And it was not to flash their neighbor.
I love
You
it.
saw Gordon
I love
Ramsay do
it.
that to a bull.
Oh.
He was walking, they were chasing these cows or something, and he just lived, woo!
All I can say is that you can't do that in West Texas because there's laws against that. Just saying.
I don't think you could wear a kilt these days in West Texas unless you're going to be revealed.
But I'm with Sandy. I have thought that many times. I think it's switched in that area. But
so more than just shower thoughts there, then it's just other times because Sandy doesn't have thoughts in the shower. She just prays.
I do pray.
I will. I think I say it every week, though. I think this section is misnamed. I think it should be called Profound Revelation because these are profound revelations.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
By the way, there's a couple things that Bob put in there from that last shower thought about the dogs. Not if you count in dog years. Duh. Okay. All right.
No, come on. I like it the other way around. At
like
least
this one.
Yeah. Well, how about How about the next one? I'm picturing Braveheart going along with this one. I'm picturing Braveheart yelling, "Freedom!"
Yeah. I know. I agree. Well, all us men, if
you
we
can't see Sandy's hands below the camera, but she keeps lifting her hands up like she's pulling up the kilt.
Well, I still don't understand why guys don't wear underwear under their kilts. I still don't understand that, but that's a whole nother.
Well,
that's a shower thought.
That's a shower thought for another generation, in my opinion.
Well, I'll put an R rating on this episode.
All right. Eddie Johnson says, keep reading. All right. So, hey, all right. So here's the next one.
I figured that was the last one.
Last but not least. Oh, what's Bob say? I'd rather wear a kilt than lederhosen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Lederhosen. That's German for a German kilt. No, it's German shorts. Okay. Yeah. That's what
Okay. Now I'm picturing Oompa music.
Oompa, oompa, oompa. Okay. A little polka dance. All right. So lederhosen.
I'd like to see you in a lederhosen.
Leather shorts. What are you saying?
I won't stand by you, but I'd like to see it.
So okay, moving right along. Okay, and this is for Sandy and for me. So just this is for us.
Okay, give it to me.
Why do we say hair when we mean lots of hair, and hairs when you only mean a few? Sandy has hair on her head. I have hairs. Okay.
Well, makes you feel better.
Yeah, thoughts. It's like we end that one in a
That's right.
All right. Oh,
Bob has worn a lederhosen before.
Bob wore lederhosen. All right. Is that too much information?
No, it's not. Not when it comes from Bob.
Not from Bob. That's just fact. Just fact.
All right.
Okay. Well, very good. So there you go. Shower thoughts, headlines from around the world that you won't hear anywhere else except here on the LambNetwork.tv. And we are ready for the Torah portion. And Sandy's got a good word for us today.
How do you know that? You don't know.
I know because I know you.
Because if it's coming from Sandy, it's a good word.
That's right. All right.
I've actually done a show or two with Sandy where she's taught the topic on the Torah portion. Never ceases to make you wonder and think and go, never thought of that one before. Every time. HaTorah, HaTorah, Torah. HaTorah, HaTorah, Torah.
All right. Well, we're so glad that you're here. Now we're going to talk about the Torah portion, of course. And I'm going to focus in on one verse. Yes, but a bigger topic than one verse. And that is going to be Exodus 7:12. For they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents, but Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods. Okay. Now, when I said that, I want us to go back to a couple verses in the Brit Hadashah, because 1 Peter 4:17 says, for the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of Elohim. And if it first began at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of Elohim? And then I want us to look at Romans 8:28. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love Yah, to them who are called according to his purpose. Okay, now, as we read that verse, as we've read that verse already, spoken it, we know that we've talked about authority, and this is an authority issue when you cast down your rod. And of course, we know the end result was his rod ate the others. Okay, we've got that. Or his snake is what we usually understand it is because it's all about establishing the authority in the land. Or let's even go further, the authority in your land. Who's the authority in your land? Because Moses was introducing himself to Pharaoh as the leader of Israel and was going to display his new title by what? He was showing signs and wonders. Signs and wonders let you know who's in charge and who's leading, right? But I want us to break it down a little bit, and let's start looking inside of ourselves as we talk about this, because there are two things that are happening that needed to be accomplished. The people needed to believe something about their future. They needed to rediscover who Yahweh was, and they also needed to believe something about their past. Who were they? Where did they come from? What's their heritage? So there's several things that needed established, and these signs and wonders are going to be the vehicle to sort of straighten them up. Straighten their thinking up, straighten their attitude up. How do they think? Get that process of Egypt to be removed from them. So here we have snake. If you think about a snake, we generally think of a snake as Yah's enemy. So why would Yah use a snake? It's real interesting, because when we look at Egypt, we know that the plagues that are about to happen all happen in part as a judgment of one of the gods of Egypt, as a direct assault on them, actually. And one of the main Egyptian gods was Ra, and he hit, which is the sun god, and his archenemy was Apepa, and that's a water snake of the Nile. So when the staff turned into a snake and ate the magician's two snakes, I'm going to preface that. I'm just talking about that right now, generally what we believe. He could have been sending a powerful message to Ra's, that Ra's enemy was now in charge, but was that it? But we can also look at it as there were many snake gods in Egypt, actually. We also have Wajet, who is a goddess, and she was supposed to have protected the land of Egypt. Okay. So, in fact, it's said that the snake goddess is the headdress that you see on Pharaoh is that snake goddess. And when Aaron's staff swallows, those are the magicians. Some say that Yahweh proves that he alone is the one. And I agree with that, that he is the one, the only God, the higher divine power. But let's look at something a little bit more closely on that, because that's the physical aspect. That's a physical aspect. And we're going to go back to that physical aspect in just a moment. But let's look at a spiritual side as well, because couldn't Yah have just given Moshe or Aaron the power just to let things happen without even using a staff? Well, he could have. So why did he use that? Because he was teaching them something that we need to understand. Everything we do and everything we say that we are successful at, does that come from within us, or does that come from outside of us? Okay, if that power was used without a staff, would that have come from within Moshe and Aaron, or outside. See, I think there's something that's happening here that's reminding us that all power and authority is by Yahweh. Without the staff, without the authority, without Yah's authority, because the staff represents authority, then we have no power in and of ourselves. I don't care if we're a great man or woman of God, if we're a leader of our home or a leader in our community or a leader in our congregation. All authority comes from Yahweh. And we have this tendency to forget that. We have some success in what we're doing, and all of a sudden we think we've accomplished that thing. Like putting in a garbage, like putting in a hose on a faucet. Maybe we couldn't even do that without Yahweh. He is the one that gives us the ability, the wisdom, and the power to do the things that we do in our lives. So I think that this in part is an intent that it's going to be teaching us about leadership and what Yah is saying about it, what needs to be done in order to wield his authority properly. Because Yah told Aaron to throw down that staff. He told him to throw it down. He couldn't just do it in and of himself through it without that staff. So the authority we cannot say that we're doing these things. We're no different. We're the flock of Yahweh. We're the sheep. If you take a staff away, we're no different than anybody else. Any leader, you take Yah's power and his authority away from them, then they're just a vessel. We've got to remember that. Now, we also understand that the serpent represents the enemy himself. So here we have what originally happened. Since this is about authority, the enemy took the authority away at the garden because Mr. and Mrs. Adam gave it away. And now that authority was what's leading pretty much the whole earth. It still is. It's Hasatan's authority. But when that staff is thrown down, the serpent comes out. That serpent, that snake that comes out, and it's revealed what authority everybody has been living under. Okay. So when Yahweh gave Moses authority, we've got to understand when Yahweh gives you authority, we have the enemy still there trying to steal back what Yah has given you. And I'm telling you, that voice is there. Now, do we take heed of the voice? No, we're supposed to take every thought captive and dwell upon his word, whatever's lovely, whatever's praiseworthy. And we could go on from that. But still, there is a fight for the authority in your life. And there was here, this Torah portion talks about the fight for authority even here. And who is sovereign? Where does the power come from? So he throws the staff down and instantly we see a snake revealed. We see the enemy revealed. What's inside of us? What is inside of us sometimes? I want us to look at that and understand that the Father always wants us to understand that we can do nothing without him. Moshe and Aaron were representing the leadership of Israel, and the enemy had to be exposed. The snake had to be exposed. When we're going forth in life, we need to be ready to let that enemy be exposed and say, Father, if there's something, weaknesses and things in me that shouldn't be there, we need to be willing to let those things be exposed so they can be removed, so we can follow his authority and do what he's called us to do. And so we can't ever forget that, because the plagues that Moshe and Aaron were about to unleash in Egypt were because the plagues were already inside Pharaoh's heart. We're about to have plagues unleashed, or are already having plagues unleashed here. And it's going to reveal what's in our heart. Is our heart full of fear? Is our heart full, where is the first place we run to the authority of man, to the government, when that snake is revealed? And do we allow it to leave and say, hey, we're going to let Yah's authority reign in our life? Now, that being said, that's an introspective thought. In this day, in this hour, what authority is allowed to rule in each of our lives. Now, I want us to go to something else here, because we generally say this snake ate his Aharon's snake, the staff that came out of the staff ate the other snakes. But is that what it actually says? It does not. It says his rod ate the other rods. Now, tradition, Rashi in particular, says, a staff becoming a snake, a rod becoming a snake wasn't that big of a deal. But Rashi internalizes and says, but a rod eating on other rods is a big miracle. It's a big miracle manifest. Do we generally think about a rod eating the other rods? Because that's actually what it says in scripture.
Mm-hmm.
Or do we think about a snake eating the other snakes? In general, when I talk to people or I hear people, they talk about a snake eating the other snakes. But here Yaz is saying, my authority is supreme, because what does that staff represent? That staff represents that authority. So suddenly we have this thing that happens where Aaron's serpent turns back into a rod and swallows all the other rods. Now, I honestly, I think a rod turning into a snake is pretty miraculous myself. But in general, the sages have said that's not the big deal. But what is shown through the rod eating the other rods is that Yahweh is beyond just the normal. He's going to be outside the box. He's going to establish himself. Your parlatricks mean nothing to me because I'm sovereign. He's going to say, I'm the creator. He is the creator of everything. He has so much more in store than what we've seen already. For the miracles that are to come are going to be any greater than any miracles that we've seen behind. And there's been some amazing ones. So we've heard of burning bushes and splitting seas, and we're going to witness even more in the days to come. And he is sovereign in all things. But if we are going to be that bride and we are going to participate to him, that snake has to come out of us. Those thoughts and the mindsets where we run to the world for their solutions and their power or for everything has to stop. And in that, we also have to be willing to allow the weaknesses, which can be the snakes in our lives that are going to trip us up, to be exposed. And oftentimes we don't want to do that because that's hard. That means pain. That means tribulation. That means trial. But would we rather do that, or do we want the plagues that are coming upon the land to do that for us? Here we have an authority, Yah's authority, and he wants to be sovereign in our personal lives as well as our people. Are we going to allow that? Or are we going to follow the authority that's already in the staff, that's already in the world? Whose authority do we follow? And who are we willing to follow tomorrow? And that's what I have for today.
All right, good word. Mark.
Well, amazing, just really good. And John read this at the beginning of the show, the word for the day, the scripture for today, and of course the Brit Hadashah being from Luke 11:14-22. The whole thing is literally about what she just taught on. And it reads, now he was casting out a demon that was mute. When the demon had gone out, the mute man spoke, and the people marveled. But some of them said, he casts out demons by Beelzebul, the prince of demons, while others, to test him, kept seeking from him a sign from heaven. But he, Yeshua, knowing their thoughts, said to them, every kingdom divided against itself is laid waste, and divided household falls. And if Satan also is divided against himself, how will his kingdom stand? And once again, she's talking about authority. Yeshua is talking about authority. What you have in authority is where you stand. He goes on to say, for you say that I cast out demons by Beelzebul. And if I cast out demons by Beelzebul, by whom do your sons cast them out? Oh, that we would be as bold as Yeshua and speak this way to people that confront us. Right, Sandy? Therefore, they will be your judges. Sandy's had to deal with some people this past week that but if it is by the finger of God that I cast out demons, then the kingdom of God has come upon you. When a strong man, fully armed, guards his own palace, his goods are safe. But when one stronger than he attacks him and overcomes him. So basically, it really comes down to authority. When I have that authority, I can cast out demons. I can move mountains. I can do all of this stuff. But more than that, it has to do when people come against us. We have that authority, and the authority gives us that confidence, the confidence to stand and speak back to those people with authority, because I have the right to. I have the right. I'm going through about 14 different things of people and businesses in the world, not Lamb, but world, coming against our household. And I don't hesitate. I go right to them and tell them, look, this is what you're doing. It's wrong. And every one of them has to back down. Yeah, we're wrong in what we're doing. And you're causing me to screw up everything else. You don't understand perpetual motion of messing with something that has to do with my household the other things to happen. Don't let them happen. Stand up and cut that stinking serpent down at the very beginning. You have that authority, especially when somebody comes against your household. Amen. You have that authority. Stand up against them. Don't let them do it. Don't let the world come against you. You have the authority to stand against all of that. One other real quick thing is that society today is more scared of snakes than the societies of past. You got to understand, we live in cities. We know how to live in cities. We don't know how to live the way that other societies used to live. And they knew how to deal with the elements. And some of that elements were snakes. And not all snakes are bad or evil.
That's right. That's true.
People knew the difference between one and the other, and they knew how to deal with it. They weren't afraid of it. They just dealt with it. Mm-hmm. And so as we read scripture and we read about snakes, it's not the same way. They didn't think the same way we think today, because we live differently in society. We all know that, but when it comes to snakes, a little bit different story. True.
I love what you said, because we do need to realize the authority he's given us. But oftentimes as I read that first scripture, we've got to be shaken up so that we are submitting to that authority and don't call it our own. So I love what you said, because we have this tendency not to walk in the identity he's given us because we're still following a different authority. We don't realize that we are the body. He is the head. We are one in that way, and we have his authority. So I love that. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah. I like what Bob says here. They've got us afraid of our own shadows, not me.
Fact.
Yeah. And it's true. I mean, just think about that. And I was just thinking about all of these different things that are taking place.
Get that snake out of there.
Yeah. Right? I'm one of those. I hate snakes. I don't like snakes, and they freak me out. They just do. And I can deal with spiders. I can deal with other stuff. I just don't spiders. No spiders. I don't like snakes.
Snakes don't bother me. Spiders do.
They don't. Same thing with me. They don't bother me.
That's good. I'll keep y'all around. But it's also very interesting. I thought what Sandy brought up, that and it's true, and that's what the scripture says, that Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods. And so we are looking at a kingdom versus kingdom thing. We are looking at authority that is positioning and being positioned. And when we look at that, okay. And I love what Bob said in regards to this. If the horsemen of Revelation chapter 6 and Zechariah chapter 6 are riding, the first horseman was the one in white. Well, science is the men in white lab coats and women in white lab coats. And you go into the labs and the laboratories where they work, especially in highly contagious areas, because I have to be careful on this side of Let Us Reason Together. And they're all dressed in white, right? They're white suits. They're all completely covered up, goggles and everything. And of course, the goggles are not white, but they're wearing these white suits. This thing that's come not with an arrow in the bow has actually come with a needle, and it's caused people to be afraid, very, very afraid,
because that's what's in them. That's the authority that's in them. They are under the authority of the world.
And so now what does that bring us to? It brings us to the other horsemen, and it's followed by the red horse, the black horse, and the green horse. Well, the red horse is war, black horse is economic failure.
One aspect of it.
And the green horse has to do with the wild beast, which is pestilence and warfare and men that are not men because they're beasts. They've been changed. Honestly, they've been changed. They've been transformed. There's a whole bunch of, I know, Sandy, you got all sorts of teachings on that, but I'm summarizing it. And so, but if they're going to be afraid of the first one, if fear has been induced and people have been inoculated with fear, then what about these others? How will they ever hold up?
It's going to show what authority they're under.
Exactly right.
It is, if we're not willing to remove the snake from our own lives, those weaknesses in those areas, then these plagues that are coming upon us will reveal the authority and the God whom we serve.
So I like what it says in Psalm 2. You can read the whole thing for yourself. But it says, he who sits in heavens laughs. Yahweh scoffs at them. Then he will speak to them in his anger and terrify them in their fury. What have they done to the average person? They terrify, if they're walking in fear. And it says, but as for me, I've installed my king upon Zion, my holy mountain. I will surely tell of the decree of Yahweh. He said to me, thou art my son, today I've begotten thee. And then it goes in verse 9, but thou shalt break them with a rod of iron, and thou shalt shatter them like earthenware. And it goes on from there. And
about 30 seconds.
And so I was just saying that now that word for rod there is not the same Hebrew word that's used over in Exodus. It's two different Hebrew words, but the authority position is there, and it's how we position ourselves. So anyway, good conversation launch there, Sandy.
Yes, I do have links to a lot of those teaching. I'll see what I can get you, Marilyn. Okay.
Amen.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of this edition of the Let Us Reason Together. This edition, we got to stay tuned to part 2. You're going to pick us up on the other side on lamnetwork.tv and Twitch, and you can catch us there and watch the rest of the show. Things that cannot be said on this side.
That's right. Coming up right now. All right. We'll see you over there.